You're welcome back. This is Newsfile, is your most authoritative news analysis show, brought to you by ACAP Compost and Recycling Plant. As a farmer, landscaper, or gardener, if your bother and headache has been poor seasonal yields and post-harvest losses due to short shelf life of your produce, what you need to do is to get ACAP Compost Fertilizer. It is an organic fertilizer made from pure organic materials and is good for you to ensure that you reduce the poor yields. It's good for all crops, including vegetables, fruits, cereals, crop trees such as cocoa, palm, coffee, among others. ACAP Compost Fertilizer is available in all leading agro-input dealers and distributors across the country. For inquiries, contact 026 40 781 020 17 35 56 4 024 34 73 15 8. That is ACAP Compost Fertilizer. White Temple Agency offers you the latest technologically advanced, trendy, and durable yet affordable stone-coated roofing tiles. Fair Roof, a luxury you can afford. They have a variety of colors and designs to choose from. Their team of professionals will give you value for money and guarantee 1 year after sales support. All they require from you is your roof plan. Your taste in roofing is their ultimate priority. You can locate White Temple Agencies Limited on plot number 65 Derby Avenue on the Children's Hospital Road, adjacent NHIS Building Arena, or their sales office branch at Old Wager Barrier, Accra West. You can also call 0302 67 37 73 or 024 32 84 85 9. Also, always get value for your money, and this Aquaba promo from Bank of Africa is what you need. It's on till the 31st of January 2017. Open a current or savings account and earn unbeatable commissions from your deposits. For more, just visit any Bank of Africa branch anywhere you are, and you will get to know what we are talking about. Now, some of the messages that you have sent in. First from Kokubako, who is, thank you very much for listening in wherever you are, and also making an input to the discussion rather very briefly. Thank you. He'll be on the show shortly. He says, now, Amalba is talking about all the losses that and supporting the president for the claim that the election petition had a toll on us. Then he says, and yet we accessed 1 billion Eurobond during the election petition litigation. That is a question he's asking Amaliba. Also, I've got other messages here. This one is coming from Dr. Atu Eidu. He is sending this from Georgia in the USA. He says, election petitions help to validate a democratic process, but do not truncate the governance system. It is therefore important that the government does not use Ghana's election petition as an excuse for some of its failures. The government has scored high marks in infrastructural development, but it has to do more in the energy sector, youth unemployment, agriculture, and help the private sector. And that's coming from Dr. Atu Eidu in Georgia in the USA. Now, some others that I find here on Facebook. Ray Anyamenko says, only the deep can understand what Rawlings said. Rawlings always criticizes the NPP of being corrupt, so he indirectly is saying NDC is now corrupt because they are mimicking NPP, and for that matter, NDC will lose the election. Okay, I find that many of you have a problem that we have two NDC representatives in the studio. The same complaint comes when you find that we have two NPP representatives in the studio. You, these party people, I just don't know what we can do with you. Victor Rufus. Okay. I will not be a conveyor belt for your insult. If you want to be heard on this platform, be decorous and speak to facts. And then Ernest in Taifa says, how much did it cost the NDC campaign launch? In fact, none of the campaign messages were persuasive and satisfactory. Let's reject NDC and vote for MPP and Nanado to implement one district, one industry policy to create more jobs for the unemployed youth. Okay. Enormous Men's says, if you are not panicking, why busing your own supporters as far as from Tumu to Cape Coast just to create the impression that you have failed, you still have large following? Okay, the bit of your statement is not also clear enough. Then, okay, Abdul Karim Inusa says, he's sending this from Tamale. I don't know whether the NDC understood what former President Rawlings told them at the campaign launch. Again, was the president in his own house during the election petition? Was he not appointing ministers left, right, center? He has no moral right to tell us that some time was wasted at the court. Then Jackson says, according to the laws of MPP, if you see the crowd of mammoth rally behind you, don't ever think you are winning, but rather think you are losing. Good point. Yakubu Askanda in Kumasi says, ask the Honorable Okujato, every Ghanaian, what was the economic growth in 2013 when the election petition was in court and the performance of the economy in 2014? Okay, so you are echoing the point by Yao Pong, and you say good points, Lawyer Yao Pong, doing justice to NDC propaganda. Eliasu Haruna in Tamale says, we are in a country where the president who is seeking election travels with our taxes. Our laws are not fair to opposition parties. We are in a nation where the president is himself a kingpin in sharing goodies with our taxes to buy votes. Get his spouse on the other side being the other kingpin in the goodie sharing spree. Since when did they come to the reality that the fisher folk needed outboard motors? Okay, we are getting to that part of the discussion right about now. Safana Abdul Razak says the stadium is a 15,000 capacity stadium. Tell Amalaba that even CPP or PNC or PPP can get that stadium full. Deal with the issues. Okay. Alhaji Mahama Salia says the president doesn't want his people to be complacent. Hard work is a secret of success. That is why he said the elections will not be easy. Samuel Brian Boabing, Samuel Aqua Young. Okay. Often Samuel sends quite a number of them, so it appeared as if he's the one. It says the most horrid, pedestrian, spiteful, and vile speech at the NDC's campaign launch was delivered by Neelante van der Poy. What's the correlation between governance or leadership and a person's height or the glasses they wear? It's unfortunate he's paid with my tax. Let's vote for more serious minds. I am for Change 2016. Okay. I think I can take a break here so that we continue with the rest of the discussion. Let me read, since I mentioned Samuel, what he sent is that he says, one cannot do away with the money in politics. It is the very basic tool that gets the entire political machinery running, including reaching out to potential voters. Vote buying is not new in politics, and to this effect, every political party is guilty of this act. But for the NDC to be using public funds to buy votes is criminal and politically unethical. The NPP does not have public funds at its disposal. Thank you for the messages that you send in. Please address the issues, because when you just send, and all the messages you are sending is asking why we have 2 NDC representatives, it doesn't get read because it doesn't make any use. Next time you see another 2 MPP people, I don't know what else you'll be saying. Okay, so thank you very much. Now, let's get back to the other issue, which is about the fact that the president, right after the launch, the next day, he was in the next door. And what was he doing? We are told, we can't be told clearly whether he was not campaigning or he was campaigning, even though we know that he started his campaign that day, went distributing outboard motors and several other things. A CDD report has also come out saying that the NDC tops the vote buying spree. The Ghana Integrity Initiative's executive secretary has also said that what happened, which we have pictures of, we'll be showing some of you on the television soon, is clearly vote buying. It is wrong. It is abuse of incumbency. It ought to be stopped. As far as the GII is concerned, almost every election year, they issue these things. But the political parties, for as long as they are in government, it doesn't matter. It's when they are in opposition that it is an important document to rely on. Okay, what are the facts? Maybe I should be talking to a campaign spokesperson and the man who is also with research and strategy. What are the facts? Was the president campaigning or not?
Yeah, something. Thank you. Let me just correct that the spokesperson is Honorable Joyce Bawa Mokhtari.
Communication team.
Just a member of the communication team.
Right.
Here are the facts. President Mahama announced after the campaign that he was commencing, after the campaign launch in Cape Coast, that he will commence his campaign in the Western region. So on Tuesday, he commenced his campaign. However, his itinerary, which was put out, included campaign programs and official programs. That is why this week, apart from the campaign tours he held in the Western region, he also opened the valve for Ghana's second oil field production, the 10 field,
right,
which is a $4.8 billion investment. And this is the second oil production field after the Jubilee field. That was not a campaign event, but it was also in the Western region, the same week. This same week, President Mahama flew to Tamale only yesterday to perform an official function, the historic Mecca pilgrimage by our Muslim brothers and sisters, flying from Tamale direct to Jeddah for the first time in this country's history. And you see why the masses love the NDC? Because we keep our word, we fulfill our promises, we make the impossible possible. You won't call that a campaign event, though the president had announced that this week he will begin his campaign. So we ought to understand that the president and every president in the world will find themselves in this challenging situation where you have to be campaigning because your opponent is always campaigning and he doesn't have to perform official functions and he's just constantly campaigning. But we also expect that our president will be working for us. We have voted for him for 4 years, not for 3.5 years, to say that I am campaigning, and so the business of state. Remember that when he flew back from Tamale last night, he had to attend the GIPC Club 100 program, which is also an official function. He was invited in his official capacity as president. So it is in the same way that in the Western region, The Ministry of Fisheries had programmed, and that is why you saw Honorable Sherry Aite and her deputy, Honorable Benita Okitidua, in attendance. That was their function, to continue with the distribution of outboard motors and other items to fisher folks. They did the first one in Greater Accra, I remember. I was there at the Ododo constituency. So it is not the first time, and this was sometime last year, it's not the first time that the Ministry of Fisheries is distributing these outboard motors, and it's been happening. The MPP takes credit for even starting the LEAP program, which is one of these social interventions. In my sector, the education sector, there are many of these social interventions. And I will not say that these social interventions are vote buying. We distribute free uniforms in the education sector. We distribute free sandals in the education sector. We distribute free exercise books, free textbooks. Only Monday this week, my boss led us to the EPP warehouse to inspect 2.5 million dictionaries that we had procured for schools, basic schools. Will you call that vote buying? So there are official functions that the president has to perform, though we are in the campaign season. And I think that we ought to do the distinction.
The previous distribution events you referred to, were they led by the president?
Yes, the president was in attendance. The one at Ododiodio, the president was there, and he did it on behalf of the minister, though the minister of Fisheries was in attendance. Take, for example, our free sandals program that we did in Adan last year. Though we were there as ministers of education, the president was our special guest of honor, because all of these things, we do it in his name. We are only delegates. It's the president who is the chief official of state, who runs the country and runs all these ministries. We are all accountable to him. So if he decides that these are my flagship programs, I want to be in attendance and do the donations myself, you can't stop him. And I think that it only goes to our credit as a country that we have a very dynamic, very hands-on president, very energetic. Can you imagine how many presidents, can be blessed with the energy that President Mahama has? That look at this week alone, the kind of engagement he's had. Western region, Northern region, Greater Accra region, all within the space of just 3 days, Tuesday to Friday night. And he continues even this morning.
You don't think that the lines are blurred when he's doing campaign and at the same time having to perform official state functions like he did? And on this particular occasion, the photographs will show that you had a lot of people clad in NDC colors holding some of the items and seeking to present them to the people who were being given.
You see, it's an interesting point you raise. I have had concern as well when we go out to commission our community day schools. These are official functions. But the people are so excited. Party people come in attendance and they wear party colors. Sometimes you want to talk to them that, oh, no, this is not a party event. They say, no, this is what I have. I want to wear my T-shirt to show appreciation that it's my party, my flag bearer who is carrying out these interventions. And you can't really stop them. But the signal is sent, when the photos are taken, it's as though it was a party event, So I think that we should look at how was the program organized. The key functionaries of state, was the president in party colors? No, he wasn't. The ministers, those in charge, the speeches, what was said, how the program was organized. Was there any role for even party chairman or party people to make interventions? Once there was that delineation, and all the political parties have had this challenge. How do you stop people from wearing a party T-shirt to an event, if that is what they choose to wear? I mean, you are a lawyer. I'm sure that it can even border on their rights, human rights, in terms of what they want to wear to any function. But what is important is that those of us who have the responsibility to draft programs for these events and to organize this event, how are we ensuring that we do the delineation and that we do not mix the two? I am arguing forcefully that we have been conscious of the fact that you need to separate these events.
Okay.
The party events must be separated from the official events.
And it is good that you mentioned that both parties, the MPP and NDC, have had issues with this.
Yes.
Because when I was preparing for this discussion, I decided to just Google up stuff, previous election years. Yeah. And I read all sorts of things that were said by NDC when President Kufuor still had to do his job, and the accusation of incumbency abuse was rife everywhere. The NDC was accusing left, right, center. Now here we are. You hold on. We'll return to see how we can resolve the issue.
Okay.
You have already started looking at the solution. What do you say? It is true that I'm waiting for some of the pictures to be shown, put on the television. In fact, he says they didn't put party people on the official speeches and everything, and it is the members who decided to wear and come in, and you can't control them. But there's one situation you saw the president, he was clearly in NDC attire and doing the distribution.
Well, Samson, I think that the NDC itself has been very clear that the trip to the Western region was a campaign trip. They have said that unambiguously, and they need not apologize for it. We are in a campaign season. The president owes no apology for campaigning. So we acknowledge that. So he ought to go out there and campaign.
But interspersed with official functions.
Hold.
We put out a statement on the 10 fields, the oil production.
Okay.
Put out a statement.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't see that. The statement you put out was his campaign itinerary and the various constituencies that he was going to go to.
That was the first statement. There was another say on official engagement.
Okay.
All right.
But here he was at an official engagement wearing a party shirt.
Absolutely. But that's the point I want to make. It's on your website, myjoyonline.com, where he's wearing the party T-shirt and distributing those outboard mottos and those basins. And those basins and outboard mottos are also embossed with the president's picture in NDC, with the NDC symbol and all of that. So clearly, rather than telling the people that this is what you perhaps deserve as citizens of Ghana, it is a clear and unambiguous, and this is not even subtle messaging. It is very clear messaging that this is what we are giving you as an NDC party. So you ought to vote for us, perhaps for more goodies. I remember clearly in 2012, these same basins that were being distributed to the people around the coastal areas, the NDC people encouraged their supporters to actually, if you want, compose a song that said that yempe free SHS, yempe hwasiambo. Hwasiambo is that basin for carrying pans. So whilst we were telling the people that, look, you ought to be taught how to catch fish, the NDC was saying, tell the MPP people that we don't want to be taught how to catch fish. We want to be given fish. So a basin that the people should prefer basins to their future, in terms of giving them a good quality education, accessible education, and they were singing it. Yes, your supporters, they were singing it. It's very plain. All over. Master, please, you were singing those songs. The people of the central region are watching. The song was very common. It's just because I'm not very good at singing. You were singing it. Okay. So the point I'm making to you is that the NDC has a certain mindset that says that impoverish the people, do not empower the people, don't make them capable of fending for themselves. Then during elections, you can come and put 20 Ghana cedi notes in matchboxes, and then you go around and distribute them and so on and so forth, and then people can vote for you. So the president is going around blatantly distributing goodies and bribing voters to actually vote for him. And he's not doing it, as I said, in a veiled manner. He's doing it openly and if you want, unapologetically. And I think that that is not good. A president ought to be the person who leads the ethical, moral crusade. Are you following me?
Okay, so you can see some of the pictures we are talking about. That's the president in the
NDC T-shirt.
NDC T-shirts. Okay, so go on.
Distributing these things. And there are others in which the beneficiaries have actually all been clad in NDC T-shirts, and then they are standing there and collecting those.
That's what he says they can't help.
Now listen. Now listen. You see, it is okay even though it is not okay, but at least the criticisms would have been milder if they had said that this is NDC campaign funds, we've gone and raised money to campaign, and therefore we are buying bases. But they have admitted that these are resources that have been procured from taxpayers' money, from the Ministry of Fisheries. And then they are using it exclusively on NDC platforms. I can bet you that at this particular function, if people wore MPP t-shirts and came there and asked to be given these bases, they wouldn't be given. They would be told that this is an NDC matter, and then we are giving goodies to our NDC people. So if you want convert to the NDC and take them. So I think that
how could you say
what
that?
they are doing, but that's true.
So you are
but
saying
everybody
NPP
there is glad in NDC. No, you are doing it.
So our progressively free SHS, we check party
what
cards.
What is progressive free SHS? You have not done anything.
The community day schools, are they only in
but what you ought to note is that it won't be long. The other pictures you will see will be pictures of items that are being distributed by, you know, Rebecca Akufo-Addo and other people in the NPP, also branded and being distributed.
Oh, of course, and without apology.
Oh, that
because without apology, because we are not using state resources.
The issue is about vote buying.
No, listen.
Inducing voters.
Listen, Rebecca Akufo-Addo, is going around also doing some form of what she calls charity work. Orphanages, hospitals, etc.
That one is charity.
Now, as part of that, I have no doubt that even if she didn't communicate to them and tell them directly that vote for my husband, the fact that she's Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo and doing what she is doing, somehow or rather, will rob off her husband. I have absolutely no doubt about that. But you see,
how about this?
But
Today's
we are talking...
Ghanaian Times, page 19, Baumia donates cash to fiscally challenge. How about that? This is also charity.
Yes, it's all that.
Page 19 of today's Ghanaian Times.
Baumia has actually built boreholes. He's actually built toilets for communities. Are you following me? And all of that.
That is not vote buying.
That is not vote buying. It is because you guys have reneged on your responsibility as government to provide these things for people. So they would appeal to whoever has the resources and the capacity to do them. As I said, even me.
So now you see on your screens, you see also what I was referring to, the NPP.
Power for Nana.
But this is Women's Wing, Bantama constituency.
Power for Nana.
Yes, this is MPP Women's Wing. The MPP Women's Wing, yes, it is.
Charity.
The MPP Women's Wing, is made up of God knows how many women. And so if they decide that, for example, me right now, I'm engaged in some susu schemes, where we contribute 20 Ghana cedis every day. Then at the end of the month, there's a certain money.
Another DKM.
No.
Have you registered with the bank?
When I say scheme,
sorry, Sami, I hope that you would
stop it.
Pause and allow him to just flow.
What I'm saying is that if a few friends, we decide that let's put 20 cedis together, like weekly. And then when it gets to a certain, we give it to one person, take it and go and satisfy your need. That sort of thing. It's not a public matter. And we all do. Poor people, we've been doing it in our communities. Are you following me? As a way of supporting ourselves. Now, when you do that and you decide that you will go and buy caps for yourself, we don't have, Mustafa's car is spoiled. Let's all contribute some money and give it to him. Next time, these guys, people will do it on weddings, or it's all going. Now you don't need to go and distribute. So the point is that the NPP Women's Wing, decides that we would find money, procure basins for our members to facilitate their businesses in the market. That cannot be called bribe. Are you following me? But when the president takes state resources, government money, and unashamedly tells us that, yes, indeed, this is government money, but I am going to use it to my political advantage. That certainly is nauseating. That certainly is
the news story that Mr. Kujato refers to, Baumia giving cash to physically challenged, the report actually said that he made this donation, is a donation in cash of 20,000 Ghana cedis. For purposes of the completion of a training facility for the disabled. A facility, the report says, has been uncompleted for over 5 years due to lack of funds and is being put up by the Future Life for the Disabled, a group of persons living with disability. And he took the opportunity to promise them that the NPP, Nana Akufo-Addo-led administration, will establish special training institutions and scholarship schemes purposely to empower persons living with disabilities. In addition, there will be a quota of government procurement and public sector employment reserved for persons living with disability.
Exactly.
So clearly,
Yeah.
he's doing a good thing,
Yes.
but it's campaign.
Well, that's what I said, that I have made no pretense to the fact that even me, okay, the many extended family people who call me at the end of the month and say, oh, something for school fees and so on. If those extended family members are NDC and perhaps I aid them, I have no doubt in my mind that it may perhaps influence them to say, oh, Mustafa has been good to this family and he's Nana Akufo-Addo's spokesperson, so let's vote for him. I have absolutely no doubt. That one, you can't prevent the good that you do to people from rubbing off you. That is different from consciously going out to say to yourself and to the world that I am using state resources to bribe people to induce them to vote for me. That's a different matter. When I buy a mobile phone for somebody from my village, I'm not going to say, I'm buying this mobile phone for you because you must vote for the NPP. I'm not going to say that. But I have no doubt that he may or end up voting for either the NPP or not at all. Are you following me? So the two scenarios are different, and I'm not going to emboss those mobile phones or a wristwatch that I buy with an NPP, what do we call it, a sticker or whatever. That would be tantamount to politicking and trying to influence people or induce them to vote. So the two scenarios are different.
you don't see anything wrong with how the president presented himself, at least, in distributing the outboard motors and the basins.
How did he present himself? Let me read something.
In NDC
I extracted
or
something
John Mahama campaign, you know.
I extracted something
shirts.
from 2015 State of the Nation address on agriculture. Part of it, this is what this president was saying. Fish is an essential part of the nation's nutritional needs, and government has put in measures to ensure a reduction in fish importation in the country. Outboard motors will be provided, cold stores, fish processing plants, and whatever.
The minister has echoed that. That is not in dispute. That is
Now,
a government program.
Page 146. Outboard motors. It's not today. The outboard motors.
Page 146
of the Green Book.
That's
Can
what
you
he's
capture
referring
it?
to.
Look, outboard motors is not today matter. Huh? So, if vote buying, is it now that you have resurrected to see that it's vote buying? Why didn't you accuse him of vote buying when these things were done? Look, we have a nation to run. The nation, the running of the nation does not end.
Over here, the picture you see, he's not wearing a shirt of a campaign.
I'll come to that.
And the outboard motors have not also been labeled with stickers on
And
it.
this one today, the outboard motors were not,
Yes, but
were
the
not
basins,
festooned.
the basins were
They were not festooned.
Okay.
My issue is that if the function was festooned with NDC colors, then I'll have a problem. The platform or whatever. Yeah. But is it not arrogance to want to tell the president how his wardrobe should look like and what he should wear to a function? It's not. It's okay. The president chooses what he wants to wear. And you say that you think that he should have worn a suit or he should have worn this. Are you his dressmaker? What law has he broken? He wants to wear a t-shirt. This is a president who is affable and has a swag. He wants people to know that. He has put on his t-shirt. Then arrogance. You say he should have looked into his drawer. There are other suits, he should wear that one. Are you lordina to show what dress you should wear?
Is he not expected to do away with the perception that this is what you're doing? You're using state funds.
No.
Things that have been bought with our tax, our money,
Yes.
to give to people, to give them the impression that you, out of your own pocket,
What
or
impression?
the NDC as a party, is the one giving you this, so you
What
vote
impression? He's not told them that these are NDC-sponsored items. They didn't come from his mouth. All that he did was to present or distribute these outboard motors, which were not even in party colors, as we saw in Rebecca Akufo-Addo's distribution, where they were even in MPP rubbers. He didn't do that. Now
Mustafa is telling you that they are not using state money. That's the important thing.
We are using state money, but we are not saying that these are NDC money we have used. We were frank and honest with the people of Ghana. And see, the president was in the Western region to do two things. He was there to continue with his campaign. But duty called. I don't know whether they expected the president to return to Accra, remove that T-shirt, put it down, and then wear a suit and go back. I don't know whether that was what they wanted. We are trivializing this matter.
The GII says the manner in which it was done is wrong. You don't agree?
And I've consistently told you that. Is it about the T-shirt he wore? Do you choose the dressing that the president should put on? Which law has he violated?
You would not have complained if this were to be an MPP president.
No, you see,
so
some of these things,
some
of these things can even backfire. Under their regime, they went to fishing communities, and the last day, you remember, what was the woman's name? Christine Chacha was even begging and giving out items, but they still lost. Being an incumbent has two challenges. You either overdo it and the people will get fed up with you and vote you out, or because of your good works, the people will see what you are doing as a way of improving upon their lives. Look at what he's saying about Bawumia. That Bawumia built, donated money for the building of a facility to improve upon their lives, isn't it? We are giving outboard motors to fishermen to improve upon their life. Those people are not human beings. See that? You see?
Interesting.
You see the MPP? MPP?
Interesting there. Just hold on briefly. Let me hear also from the campaign spokesperson of the president herself, Joyce Bawa Mokhtari, how she explains what happened.
Yesterday, it was an opportunity for us to present these outboard motors to the community here in the Western region. Several other communities in the Greater Accra and all the other fishing communities have actually benefited from this intervention. Remember that we are a social democratic government. We focus greatly on all the other industries other than the traditional one. So yes, the fishing community is part of this industries that is excellency the president is working to improve, to ensure sustenance, to ensure that they contribute adequately.
So what you're calling a donation is actually something paid for with state funds?
Oh, certainly. Very, very straightforward. It's something that we've been engaged in for quite some time. His Excellency has made these donations all across the country, specifically targeted at fishing communities in Ghana.
Since you are giving these items to the fisher folk and they've been paid for with state funds, is it really appropriate to do this at a party event? Is it not likely to confuse people into thinking that it is the party doing this for them when it's actually all of us as a nation paying for it?
I have explained to you that this was actually a endeavor for fishermen and fishmongers. As part of the activities marking the occasion, these outboard motors were given to all the districts in that community.
This is a true reflection of what Ghanaians think would help improve the quality of our elections. So what is the perceived neutrality of the Electoral Commission? Because that is the referee of the match. So how do Ghanaians think, what they think about the EC? So again, a clear majority of Ghanaians believe the EC performs its duties as a neutral body guided by law. However, a third think the EC takes decisions meant to favor particular people or parties of interest. So who are the culprits of vote buying in Ghana? Again, this runs parallel to the violence, the kind of results we saw when it got to vote coercion. So the two front runners, the NDC and then the MPP, are the most cited parties that sell their votes.
So you heard from the president's campaign spokesperson, and also you just heard from a bit from the CDD. They held a press conference to announce what had happened. Yeah, I don't know how you want to process all of this, and particularly when you hear Mustafa Hamid also say that for as long as it's our own funds that we're using to assist the people, there's nothing wrong with it. We can label them as much as we want, and of course we will expect that this will influence them to vote for us. And all of the parties are saying this in the face of the clear prohibitions by the law. Sections 33, 34, 35 of the Representation of People law.
Not all the parties.
In fact, the NDC,
does not
the
endorse.
Joyce Bauer, Joyce Bauer
be the last person
has
protesting.
emphasized after this that they will continue nonetheless.
To
So,
perform our duty, I have a statement.
okay,
Okay.
The
Yeah.
president will be performing his duties.
both roles as,
yes,
as president,
president.
and as candidate.
And as president, he superintends over a number of
Right.
social interventions.
Correct.
I've talked
We get
about
that.
The free
We
distribution
get that.
of
It's
sandals,
the manner.
uniforms.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
It's the
So-
manner. Thank you.
So please,
interesting the
let's-
way
let's
those
do
who
this.
are very close to the president and are implementing his campaign strategies, the way they are speaking. Because I also heard some officers of the NDC party who were saying that, especially my friend Anyidohu, he said he would be surprised if the president used items that have been purchased or funded by state money to distribute. And that these were people who were NDC members, and there was nothing wrong with the president giving them something that has been acquired or purchased by the NDC's own money. When you juxtapose that to the statement by Mrs. Muntari, my good friend and mate, and our good friend and our Maliba, it is totally at variance.
Okay, so we should rather take the statement from the president's campaign spokesperson.
Yes, no, but I'm juxtaposing the two. And I would say that one, state monies, I'm putting the two together. State monies have been taken to acquire items and given to NDC party members. If I put the two together, that is the conclusion.
No. That would be a fair conclusion.
I'm saying that I'm putting together. Are you denying that I heard Mr. Nidohu say, another party officer say that these were, he said, or words to the effect that he would be surprised if it was items purchased with state money and given to NDC members. I'm saying that I heard him say that, to that effect.
Well, I don't.
Allow me.
No. This clarification is important.
Okay, go ahead.
It's important. You ought to do a distinction between items that the party will buy, say T-shirts, paraphernalia, and other things, and distribute to its members. You have to do that distinction.
This was in specific reference
to
what Mustafa called the
between party items
And I think
state
you
of
should also
officialdom.
proceed and do the analysis without bringing in people that we may not have the opportunity to hear from them.
Well, so I'm saying that I've heard this from party people, and I've heard this from what president's own campaign managers are saying. I will go for that, but I will not discount what others who are related to the president's party have also said.
Okay.
But I will insist on what they're saying. So clearly, what Mr. Blackwell is, for example, saying is that the NDC have not, in this scheme of things, at least not in the Western region, as a party, given any item to any member of the party. That is the impression or the understanding I get.
Right.
And that to settle. Now, so then let's look at the law. And I'm grateful that you did us the favor of reading the relevant portions of Act 284. I think the problem we have is the phrase vote buying. The law doesn't use that phrase as far as I'm concerned. And because when you do that, you discount a very important element of the offense. And one of them is with the purpose or in order to induce. So if these items were given to NDC members, then they cannot amount to vote buying because they are not inducing them when they will vote for the party anyway, or vote for President Mahama anyway. So that cannot amount to vote buying. Number two, the law also says that the gift given or the provision of an office, employment, what we call treating, meat, drink, must also be with the purpose of inducing the person to vote or rewarding him for voting for that party or that person. Again, if these meat and drink, shasiamo and basket and so on were given to NDC members, then the offense of inducement to vote and in relation to bribery in election, for me, no one will be able to establish that with certainty, unless to say that some party members, especially also for the MPP as well, are so disgruntled. They need incentives to now renew their commitment to vote for the party, knowing who the generality of party members are, they will definitely vote whether or not for that party, whether or not they are given these items. So the question then is, how do you differentiate between items which are purchased with state money and those that are not? Mind you, the president is a trustee, and a very important duty of a trustee is that you must not commingle. You must not mix your personal property or interest with that of the subject matter of the trust. And so if we are not told at what point in time the president will use his personal money or that of the party to give out these gifts, and when he will use state funds to give out other gifts, we'll have problems. In 2012, we saw laptops with the president pictures embossed in the laptops. But these were state money, state-funded items that were given out. At the same time, the vehicles were given to chiefs. We know that that was a function of state and the government. We cannot say that that one amounts to inducement to vote. But the bottom line is, with all this incumbency and things, I think that the president should one day assemble his advisors and ask them, I mean, if we are in a competition and like the Olympics, 100 meters, they say everybody must use what do you call metal boot or kambu, as we used to call it. And then you say that I have already been given a leather boot or a boot made from fabric, which is lighter. And that is the official boot that I have been given to wear because of the position I occupy. Don't you think that it will be unfair for you to use that boot on that day when others are using metal boots? Because yours will be lighter and you are likely to be unfair to the others.
Okay.
So I think it boils down to conscience and it boils down to the president himself seeing the need that if I have to go and perform a state function, everything must show that it is a state function. If I have to go out there and campaign to people to vote for me, then the items you send there, I don't mind if it has party colors or inscriptions or president's name. I don't have that problem. But to mix the two, some of these Yashamope things were really embossed with NDC colors, no doubt about that. A number of those receiving were in NDC t-shirts. I think it's something that the organizers can look at. I know they are people of goodwill. They can look at it. If today he has to give...
So you have proceeded to proffer some solutions as to how to deal with them. But permanently, beyond these laws, but you know the law is so good, the way it's crafted. Yes. It is such that it will catch you no matter how you do it.
That's right.
Either you're doing directly, it talks about indirectly,
yes.
where you are promising the person with employment and all of these things. And we know these things happen. You know, as for the meat aspect, all the parties would be guilty.
Meat and entertainment.
And they will be in jail by now, and they'll be disqualified from voting for 5 years.
That or even standing for election.
Right. What else do we need to do beyond that? What else do we need to do?
But something, as I was concluding, I think it boils down to conscience. The fact that you should see competitions, that at the heart of competition is fair play. And these things, you don't need laws to be passed. We all have conscience.
I see.
The spirit of these laws are the ones that should weigh on us, not necessarily even the letter. I'm not discounting the need for insisting on the letter. So ask yourself, if it was done to me, will it be fair?
Okay. What ought to be done, Mustafa? And you see, this president has been accused by your party and his other critics for maybe over abusing the incumbency, because just a while ago, before he launched his campaign, he was going all over the country. He did a nationwide tour doing what he called accounting to the people. And it was deemed that was campaign, you know, no matter how he called it. And now he's doing, and some say this is the second, you know, leg of the campaign, and that is a disadvantage to your party. You don't want this to happen to you, so you don't also want to do this to a party when you are in government. What should be done?
Well, what should be done is, I agree with Mr. Yaopong, that what should be done is for the person who is in the helm of affairs to decide that I would live within ethical bounds, that I would separate as much as possible my functions as President of the Republic of Ghana from my functions as, if you want, a flag bearer of a political party. So to that extent, this distribution of outboard motors, for example, even if the Minister for Fisheries had gone there to talk to fisher folks and said, look, as part of Ministry of Fisheries budgeting for this year, you were entitled to this number of outboards. And if they wanted it to rob off President Mahama, it will still rob off him, without him personally wearing an NDC t-shirt.
So the problem is really about the shirt he was wearing.
Well, it's not about the shirt. It's not necessarily about the shirt. But saying to the people that this is what I have done for you. Oh, but he was touting his credentials and everything.
But
you get the point. In everything that he has done, he has sought to say that because I have done this, therefore, vote for me. Even the Tamale airport that my friend managed to smuggle in. Because he managed to smuggle it in, I need to set the record straight on that.
No,
by the way, that flight...
I did it with a lot of pride.
That flight is not historical at all. It is not the first time. They've been saying it for several days now. That is the first time that planes are flying from the Tamale airport to a destination. I'll quote. Look. To Maka, yes. It was being done in the 70s.
70s?
Yes. Alhaji Ibrahim Mahama. Ibrahim Mahama of the CPP. He's written a book called The Destiny of a Horseboy. Okay? He launched it at the International Conference Center. Go and look at that book, page 196, and I'm quoting him. He says, it was silly and useless African jealousy that ended Best World Airlines flights to Saudi Arabia. The government of Dr. Hilal Liman prevented Best World Airlines from continuing its Hajj flights when it won the 1979 general and presidential election. But the government and its agents were unable to organize Hajj flights from Tamale during that year or any year thereafter. And so for the past 28 years, ever since Best World Airlines folded, no company has been able to provide Hajj flights from Tamale. Succeeding governments have declared their intentions to enable Ghana Airways to organize blah, 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 blah. Are you following me? So first of all, the thing about historical Yamutu. That's number one. Number two.
It's interesting. We'll check. We do not know if they flew
page
them
from Tamale yes.
to Accra before proceeding.
No, straight
because
to
it
the
doesn't
place.
say specifically.
It says that.
It doesn't say directly.
Oh,
it doesn't say
master.
directly from Tamale to
that.
Jeddah.
It says that.
So
we'll
have to check.
No, hold on. Let's go over it again. It doesn't say directly that they were flown. It is an inference. Because it says
from Tamale.
After that, they couldn't do that.
Because
yes, that Hilal Liman's government stopped the flight from Tamale to Jeddah thereafter. And it continues. Look, that 2 days before her departure to Saudi Arabia, I discovered to my greatest shock that going to Mecca by Ghana Airways followed the principle of law and blah. Okay, but it gives you details from page 193.
Because Ghana Airways
bring them to Accra.
Yes, to Accra first. To Accra before they...
This language is very clear to me.
Read that again. Hold on. Read that again.
It was silly and useless African jealousy that ended Best World Airlines' flights to Saudi Arabia. To Saudi Arabia, not to Accra. The government of Dr. Hilal Liman prevented Best World Airlines from continuing its Hajj flights when it won the 1979 election. Now, haven't people been going to Mecca since 1979? So that this tells you that
it doesn't.
It does because Hajj flights have never stopped.
It is not explicit.
Oh,
it's not clear.
Okay. Look at that. From continuing its flights since it won the 1979 general president, but the government and its agents were unable to organize Hajj flights from Tamale. From Tamale. Page 196. From Tamale.
Okay.
During that year or any other year thereafter. And so for the past 28 years, ever since Best World Airlines folded, no company has been able to provide Hajj flights from Tamale.
Don't worry, we will check.
What's your solution?
No, but let me finish. Let me even go on. Let me go on.
No, this is supposed to be your solution. You are providing
solutions. But even in 2008, the South African national team flew directly from South Africa and landed in Tamale. The Senegalese national team flew directly from Senegal.
No, we are talking about solutions to incumbency abuse.
You were in power for 8 years. Were you able to organize Hajj from Tamale to Jeddah? That is the issue.
Historic Yamutu.
Were you able to organize that?
Historic Yamutu.
Okay.
A little truth, my brother.
A little truth.
Say your last word on the solutions for avoiding incumbency and vote buying.
My solution to avoiding incumbency and vote buying is that per the laws that you have read, as you yourself have said, it's very difficult to distinguish, because even if you go to a chief's palace, when you go on your campaign tour, mostly by courtesy, we go to the chief's palace to say, I'm in your land. I want to seek permission from you to go to your town.
You present drinks and cash.
You present drinks and you present cash. Are you following me? How are we supposed to interpret that? That we are bribing the chiefs and so on. So, as you said, per the way the law has been formulated, it's a very difficult matter. Are you following me?
Are we sure we really don't know? Because per what we are putting together as law for public officers now in Parliament, and then also, which is the Shraj's conflict of interest, rules that it is now being transformed into law, and also from the president's even own a code of ethics for ministers and appointees, you'd find that it is very clear there is consistent reference to perception being as important as the actual corruption happening or the conflict of interest happening. And people are supposed not to accept gifts of a certain amount. And yet, we don't even take that to be serious. What's the way forward?
Samson, I am a believer in improving systems. We ought to work towards perfection. I do not believe in playing the ostrich and trying to just score cheap points. On this matter, one can argue largely that for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Because which political party in Ghana doesn't distribute T-shirts free of charge? In other jurisdictions, party members go to a shop and pay for the T-shirt. If you support a party, if you're a Republican or Democrat, you pay for your T-shirt or the cap or whatever paraphernalia you want. Here, the story is told of one of a very popular politician who attempted it, who was selling his T-shirts. And what the people told him in the face, he stopped. But we ought to get there, because one can even argue that all those are types of inducement.
Because there are villages where getting a T-shirt,
yes,
it's enough.
Yes. It's enough. It's enough to get them to look in a particular direction. So let us all agree that we can work to improve the system. That is why I said in my initial submission that it's a delicate balancing act. And
all
you see, people
and falling short of the glory of God.
You see
of the law.
You see, people speak as though it's all incumbency is all advantageous. It can be very, very disadvantageous. Look at this week. President had to curtail his campaign on a number of occasions to go perform official functions.
I think those official functions wouldn't inure to his benefit. It's all part of, you are here to tout an historical Tamale flight. You're supposed to tell the people of Tamale and the Muslims that we are the first people to do it.
Apart from that, he
so
goes.
vote for us.
Apart from that, he goes to open the valve for the 10 fields.
Yes.
He cuts the campaign, Club 100, and all of that. So there is also incumbency disadvantage, where you must make sure that you do not derelict or abdicate. You are still in office. You are supposed to perform your official functions. But putting that aside, I think that we need to have a discourse on how we can improve the systems. For example, if you take page 19 of the Ghanaian Times today, and you look at the what you will say that Dr. Bawumia's gesture is a laudable gesture if he just gave them the cash and walked away. But you see here, the Ghanaian Times quotes him as he stated, God willing, when Nana Akufo-Addo becomes president, he will establish training institutes to equip you with technical and vocational skills to enable you work and earn a living. So clearly, it is not just a good gesture and I walk away. I expect you that after taking this 20,000 cash, God willing, help me, and let Nana Akufo becomes president. So it's clear. You see, so we don't need to, play ostrich about this, or just engage in cheap point scoring. But Samson, my take on this is that we can improve the system.
Right.
We can all fashion out for ourselves how we should. Some have even talked about even political party funding, for example.
I think the sincerity with which you guys approach this is admirable, and we should look at how that way forward. Yes.
But let's not be oblivious of our cultural setting.
Yes.
Have you heard the statement that you don't go to a chief's palace empty-handed?
Yes.
So,
we have to look at all of that.
And sometimes I wonder if it can be referred to as vote buying if people come all the way, walk all the way to, say, a party event.
Yeah.
And then you give them food to eat, knowing that they didn't eat in the morning, in the afternoon, and they will be leaving in the evening.
Yeah. Or some
refreshment. Some refreshment. Is that vote buying? So, see, in all these attempts to maybe put in laws and legislation, let's also factor in our cultural setting. Okay. Don't forget that the law that you have read copiously is saying that for the purpose of
influencing
that food that you are giving him, you are giving him because the man is hungry. It's not for the purpose of voting. So those things must be put aside. Okay. But those that are to influence people, I agree, we need to do something about it.
And then finally, if I can just chip in, that ultimately, let us also not underrate the Ghanaian and the voter, because we think that they are not discerning. Once you give them these goodies, they will necessarily vote for you.
We are very fresh in our memories the very last days of the Kufuor administration and the things that happened, and yet they were punished. So you can't take the electorate for granted. You cannot. I covered the Asawase by-elections. A lot of things happened, and yet the people said they won't vote for money, and that they will vote for the person they loved at the point, and they voted for that man. Okay, you wanted to say something, 30 seconds and then we'll move on.
Just the same point you made, that we shouldn't discount the discernment that the Ghanaian is vested with. I mean, they will usually also have to look at their personal circumstances. How come if we are disabled or if we are in need, why should the thing come to us just at this point in time? So those people receiving these goodies and the freebies should also bear in mind that there is a greater expectation than the immediate one you get from this item that is given you.
How local economies boom overnight when there are by-elections in those areas. Those who don't have electricity, quickly you see that the electric poles are being sent to the place and everything else is happening as if it's some magic. Now, if you're using your internet, and it does appear that if you are downloading some very small sound or video, it takes you a minute or more. Dump the internet you're using, hop on to MTN 4G LTE and enjoy a whopping 100% bonus when you bundle. To get started, you simply dial *585# to check if your device is 4G compatible, and then you visit any MTN service center near you with your valid ID, and you will be signed on. Enjoy better internet experience and on Ghana's only 4G network on the go, and say hello to the future. Welcome to the new world. That's MTN. You will make it happen. Everything you always wanted of insurance is online. Buy, renew, and make claims, all in 3 easy steps. First, log on to starassurance.com and follow the easy steps to get your insurance online. It's that easy and quick. Star e-insurance, possible anywhere, anytime. Star Assurance, that is your solid partner. And also, if you're experiencing poor seasonal yields and also post-harvest losses, what you need is ACAP compost fertilizer. It's an organic fertilizer made from pure organic materials, and it will get your crops growing and producing in the folds that you require. ACAP compost fertilizer is available in all leading agro input and dealer and distributors across the country. You could call 026 40 781. White Temple Agency, that is where you find the latest technologically advanced, trendy and durable yet affordable stone-coated roofing tiles. Fair Roof, that's a luxury you can afford. Locate them at White Temple Agency's limited plot number 65 Derby Avenue on the Children's Hospital Road, adjacent NHIS building, Accra Arena, or any of their sales branches. Particularly go to the Old Wager Barrier, Accra West. You could also call them on 0302 67 37 and 73. That is White Temple Agency. Innisfly has a new technology that kills mosquitoes and other pests for up to 2 years after painting. With Innisfly insecticide paints, you prevent malaria one time installed instead of trying to manage the health problem. So as of as their motto goes, paint malaria out with Innisfly insecticide paints. Innisfly insecticide paints are available in selected retail shops near you, or call them on 057 7701 057 770 1000. So the number is 057 770 1000. Innisfly for a pest-free life. And you definitely need that. And you need to also get value for your money in the Akwaba promo by Bank of Africa. From now till the 31st of January 2017, all you need to do, open a current or savings account and earn unbeatable commissions on your deposits. For more details, just contact any of their branches wherever you are and enjoy their unbeatable commissions just by doing a savings or opening a current account. We will take a break here and we'll return to go to the courtroom, and we'll be going to the Human Rights Court, Court 2. And that's a court where a lot of advancement of our constitution and our human rights is happening in this country. Our own little lordina corner is in that court in our own discussions. We'll be right back on the Afoko suspension endorsed by the courts.